Relationship advice. What's up? It's me, Anthony, the DJ Anthony. And believe me, I've been around the block a few times. I know one or two things about relationships. Okay. You can trust me on this one. But by the way, I'm only giving my opinion. Always check with your healthcare professionals or your professionals. This is just my opinion. Okay. You got to give disclaimers nowadays. So yeah. Anyways, how you doing, by the way? How's it going today? How you doing? Think about this. How are you? How is anyone going to ask you how you doing? Well, I am. Okay. See, somebody cares. So relationship advice. Look, this particular episode is about relationship advice, meaning romantic relationship advice with your husband or wife or boyfriend, girlfriend, significant other, whatever. Because you know what, I'm probably going to do shows on, relationship advice for between you and your kid, or you and your brother, or you and your mother, you and your father, you and your neighbor. So there's a lot of different types of relationships, but this particular episode is relationships between you and your significant other, your again husband, wife, boyfriend, girlfriend, partner. So and by the way, the advice I'm going to give you, it's not about necessarily making your relationship be perfect or making your relationship last forever. No, this is just advice to help your relationship in the time that you have it, because everything ends. And I don't want to be a Debbie Downer about that, but it's true. I mean, so this is how can you enjoy the relationship while you have it to the best of your ability. And it could end with a breakup or divorce, or I don't know, you and your significant other maybe don't see each other as much because you work on two sides of the country, or God forbid you become a widow. My point is everything ends, and that's not a sad thing. It's a beautiful thing in the sense of enjoy what you have when you have it. Be in the moment, enjoy. And that's one of the things I think I can tell you, having been in multiple relationships throughout my life. I'm 50, so I know a little something. I always look back and I say, I wish I would have done a lot of things differently, and not necessarily not get into the relationship with somebody, but I wish I would have been in the moment more often. Maybe not been as argumentative or defensive. I wish I would have let things kind of roll off my shoulders more. And not to say any of us should be punching bags, but so this is the advice I'm going to give you is, what to do to, again, enjoy the time you have together the best you can. So, and that's that. Okay. Um, and by the way, hopefully you're not in a abusive relationship. If you're in a bad abusive relationship, or yeah, you need to get out of that. But anyways, this is again, you're in the normal relationship, and maybe it's not the greatest. Maybe it is great. Again, enjoying the time that we have while we have it. Okay, so first and foremost, kind of on that note, hopefully hopefully you're in, or you're looking for a friend. I think the core of any great relationship, if it's going to be great or good, is finding a friendship. It's not about sex, not about lust, not about money. If you find that someone that you can be a friend to, or a best friend to, you got half the battle won right there. Still, I mean, obviously you have to work on things, but yeah, if you don't have a friend in your relationship, if your husband, wife, partner, boyfriend, girlfriend is not your friend, you're probably with the wrong person. And trust me, I've been there before. So, okay. But being said, okay, so the tips are this: take a notepad out. Here we go. How's my hair? Okay. Communication, and honest communication, which I'm probably going to say honesty again, or I'm going to mention it later on, but communication. So if you like something or don't like something, and especially as guys, we're kind of too tough. Oh, talk about it. Oh, talk about it. Oh, only sissies talk about it. This is your husband or your wife or your partner. Come on, man. You gotta. No one's saying cry. I mean, that's fine too if you want to cry, but like, hey, I really like this, or what, I didn't like that. Can we please maybe try something? Like, communicate. You don't have to do a whole, doctoral thesis, but communicate, speak. Don't be like, oh no, nothing's wrong, nothing's wrong, nothing's wrong. Or ladies, right? Oh, I'm fine. And meanwhile, you don't talk to us for 5 years. You know what I mean? Like, just speak up. And if you need a moment to cool down, that's fine too. But speak up, communicate, whether it be something small, medium, or large. Okay. Second would be let it be. Don't communicate. I know it's kind of oxymoron here, or counterintuitive, but you don't have to complain or communicate about everything. If the person's did something, and let it roll. You know what I mean? If it's not life and death, or pick, the old saying, pick the hill you want to die on, pick your battles. You can't pick every battle. So if it's something annoying or whatever, and you already had 5 conversations today, don't make this the sixth one. Just let it be. It's like, pick your fights. You're gonna exhaust yourself. You know what I mean? You just let it be. And I regret that. I wish I would have let a lot of things be in the relationships that I had. I tended in the past to, especially when I was younger, pick every fight, and it's just like, it's not good for me. It's not good for the person. And again, not that that would have made the relationship last forever, but I would have enjoyed the relationship a little bit more for the time that we had versus me nitpicking on everything, or again, picking 10 fights when I really should just pick two or three or four. You know what I mean? So, okay, let your partner have a little bit of their own life. You don't have to be attached at the hip, meaning, your husband or wife or significant other. Let them go out with the girls. Let them go out with the boys. Let them go fishing by themselves. Let them go to the thrift shop by themselves, or let them go whatever, play pickleball with their friends. Like, you don't have to be always with them. I think, especially when we're younger, maybe, but I think the West or America, we have too much Hollywood in our relationships. We think like, we're going to be together forever and every day, forever and ever and ever, and we'll do everything together. So, jeez, like, you're still a human being. You're still a separate entity. And yes, you are one when you're together, you're married or you're living together, you are one, but you are still your own person. And there's nothing wrong. There's nothing illegal. There's nothing immoral. There's nothing in any religious book anywhere that says you can't go out by yourself for a walk, or you can't go read a book by yourself at the library, or you can't go in the room by yourself separately just to pray or meditate on your own. You know what I mean? Like, you can't, there's nothing wrong with going out for coffee with a friend and not bringing your spouse with you. Like, it's good. It's healthy to have a little bit of your own life. I'm not saying ignore your spouse or your significant other, but okay. But carving a little bit out for yourself. I used to love going to men's Bible study, and it was just us men every Thursday night for a couple of years. We had a really great group of guys, and it was just awesome. I loved going to that group, and that was my time, and, my significant other had her time, with her group, and that's good. And it kind of makes you miss the person a little bit too. It's like, oh, how was your group? And you have something to talk about, Okay. The other thing I would say is, and by the way, if you have tips, put them on the comment section. I'd love to hear your tips about, how to have a decent relationship or better your relationship, or relationship tips. Um, have your own friends. I mentioned that already, and have your own time and hobbies. Keep the in-laws out of it. Yo, that's a tough one. I love my mother. I love my daddy. Like, oh, that's great, but you're not married to them. And he even says it in almost every single religion. You are, in not so many words, I'm paraphrasing, but you are to leave your mommy and daddy and now be one with your spouse or your partner or whatever. That means that your mommy and daddy do not have jurisdiction. They do not have agency over you anymore. You're not living in their house. And it can get a little tricky because when mommy and daddy help buy your house, mommy and daddy paid for the wedding, mommy and daddy paid for your college, your mommy and daddy sometimes think that they own you. They don't. And that's the stark truth of this, is that I think sometimes our mommies and daddies, they forget, like, you don't own me. You don't. I'm not a piece of property. Yes, you paid for the college and the car, and that you maybe pay for the house or put a down payment on it for us. You know what I'm saying? Like you get a lot of that, and it doesn't. You're not my God. You don't tell me what to do. And you get a lot of parents that will lose their shit because although they don't overtly understand or see it like that, subconsciously, yes, they think because they did all this for you that you should do what they say. No, 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 no. You're an adult now, and especially if you're out of their house, even if you're living in their house, you're an adult. I mean, granted, you're not doing anything illegal, but if you want to date somebody that they don't like, well, as long as you're not dating a criminal, if you want to go to a school that they don't like, you want to major in something they don't like, you want to, buy a car they don't like, you don't want to get married in that certain place. Well, that's your mom and dad need to shut up, really, And I will say I'm lucky because although my mom and dad are good people, they didn't really do much for me financially. So they didn't help me buy my house. They didn't help me, and they didn't help put me through college. They didn't help pay for my wedding when I was married. So in a way that was nice because they couldn't get their claws on me. Like, and not that they would do that, but human nature is such. Like that they think they're vested in some way, and they kind of are, right? If they're doing all this for you, it's almost normal that they would expect you to do what they say. So this is where the friction comes in. But you have to understand, whether they pay for your stuff or not, your parents, you love them, but they're not your masters. Only God's our master, and even that, I don't think God would want to say that God, we're not a slave to God, but you know what I'm saying. I have to get religious here, but anyways, but yeah. So you keep the in-laws out of it. You know, your in-laws, if they like to, you know, chime in, then you need to chime out and maybe see a little bit less of them. You know, they need to stay in their fucking lane. All right, and we love them, but still. All right. Let's say is the next one I have is understand that you and your partner, you're both fucked up. You know, you both have sins, you both have flaws, you both have shortcomings. You know, have been in many relationships, and some of them that were not that great. My other half almost felt like they were without flaw, but I was the one that had this problem and that problem. I need to change this. I need to change that. I need to change this. It's like, who the fuck are you? It's like you kidding me? You're wrought with problems and shortcomings and little things. And come on, you know. So I think it's incumbent on both sides. I need to understand, like Anthony, DJ Anthony, am flawed. I am a sinner. I am broken, and I also need to know that. And I need to understand that. Hey, my wife or husband or boyfriend or girlfriend, they're messed up too, you know, and it's okay, you know, and it's not for any of us to change the other person. It's too late by this point. So if you can't at least at the minimum accept them and at best celebrate them for their shortcomings, again, understood, as long as you're not breaking laws. But if it's like, you know, they do this and that really irk you, oh, well, shut up, you know, like leave that person alone. It's again, you pick your fights and better be one or two. Like, you know what I mean? You can't. So understand though, work on you. How about that? Look in the mirror. You know, so that's another bit of advice I would say. What else? I don't keep track of shit. If you're keeping track of like, oh, she said that, he said this, and then you're gonna throw it in the person's face. Yeah, remember when you did this? Haha. That's fucked up. That is you're keeping score, and you're gonna have a very sad and not so good relationship in the short time that you have it. You want to enjoy this time, you know, whether it be 1 year, 1 decade, or 50 years, it's going to go by in a blink. You want to enjoy it. Don't keep track, honestly, especially if stupid shit like, oh, well, when you left that out last time, I didn't, you know, and especially if you're really like looking to zing the person, you know, don't, you're with the wrong person then. You know, you need to stop that. And I'm guilty of that in the past too, and it's not good. So it's not, yeah, don't do that. So if you're keeping track, stop keeping track, because it's going to come right back at you. And again, it's going to make this ride of a relationship bumpy. You want it smooth, you want it bumpy. So and if he or she's keeping track, you don't keep track. And remind them, honey, I'm not keeping track of stuff. You know, like you don't have to name it. And then they might say, well, what did you do? What did I do? What did I do? Don't even name it. Just go, I'm not keeping track. Please don't. I'm not doing that. Don't. You know what I mean? You have to set an example, set the tone. And again, I'm guilty of a lot of this shit, but this is what I've learned. Take it how you want to take it. So I would also say find something every day to say thank you for with your significant other. You know, whether it's just, oh, thank you for bringing back dinner, or thank you for whatever, you know, cleaning up my clothes by the bed, or thank you. Like, find something to say thank you for or be thankful for with your significant other. Okay. You don't have to be like, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you all the time, but at least once a day, like say thank you, text thank you. Hey, by the way, thank you for, you know, whatever, mentioning that book to me. I picked it up, or thank you for whatever, you know, like text it, say it. It's important, you know. What else? I would say go to counseling, actually, even if you don't need it. I know of many couples that have really, really great marriages and relationships. They almost never fight. They have really great relationships, but they go to counseling once a month or once, you know, whatever, once a year as a tune-up, as just like going to get a checkup. And I think that's really prudent. I think that's smart. I think that's like going to the gym or eating right or taking care of yourself. Why wait till you get a diagnosis and then it's too late? Like, just, you know, yeah. So I was really impressed with this one couple who have a really great relationship. And they go, yeah, we'll go to counseling. I was like, why would you go to counseling? And they're like, oh, no, it's just a tune up. I'm like, you know what? That's pretty smart, actually. And counseling, listen, you got money for how many shoes? You got money for you got money for how many online services? And you got money for how many streaming services? You got money for one or two therapy sessions. Cut it out. And you can go to betterhelp.com. They should be paying me. They're not. But anyways, betterhelp.com. Go check it out. You're going to love it. Agree to disagree. I'm glad that I use this a lot as I gotten older. Is, hey, we disagree. That's it. You know, like why go in circles? You said your case, I said mine. No need to keep on talking about it. We just disagree. And again, as long as it's nothing illegal, it's not like, you know, hey, you're selling heroin, you should stop. You know what I mean? But it's like, hey, when you say this or you did that last time, or I didn't do this, but you said that, but I don't know, but you know that. You know what? We disagree, and move on because again, it's okay. Like you want to enjoy the relationship with each other. So agree to disagree, and it's okay. And I always was guilty of that. I would always try to make the women in my life see it my way, and try to sell them on it. And it's just let it's okay. Like you don't have to control everybody. So now I'm like, yeah, okay, well, we disagree. What else? Agree, disagree. Plan dates together, actually, even if it's just to walk around the block. Doesn't you get so many people say, "Oh, we get the money to go on a date." What does it cost to just go for a walk? What does it cost to watch something at home together, sit down? What does it cost to go out for a coffee together? You know what I mean? Stop. Okay. So date doesn't have to be climbing Kilimanjaro, but be intentional. But like, hey, every Wednesday is the day that we go out for lunch or we go out for a walk or we watch our favorite show together, whatever, the date, quote unquote date. Have a date day or date night or date hour together, date 10 minutes together. No excuses. It's like a plant, man. You got to water the relationship. Okay. What does it say is be intentional about helping each other out. Even if you don't feel like it, like like okay, this person worked all day and now they're gonna come home and cook. You know what? Maybe this is usually the husbands, but not all the time. But hey, go out and pick up dinner. And so then when your wife comes home or your significant other, they don't have to work a 10-hour day and then come and cook. And so what? You worked also. Okay. So then maybe you cook one day or pick up food one day and then she can do the other day. You know what I mean? Back and forth. Like, or whatever, like vacuuming, cleaning, whatever it is, or landscape, whatever, dusting, it's something. Try to be of service to each other. And that is not an emotion. It's not about, oh, I don't feel like it. No, just fucking do it. So I know I cooked many times because I had seen like, and I'm not saying I'm some gem of a gem of a guy, but the times that I did it right, I was like, oh wow, I noticed my then girlfriend or then wife was like, wow, they work and I work, but they're always cooking. I'm like, you know what? No, I'm going to try to cook a couple days out of the week because that's not fair. Like they're working harder than me or as hard as me. And I'm not cooking, and so let me just pick up food or I'll make something quick or you know what I mean, throw it in the microwave. So something or whatever. It could be wash the clothes or change a diaper. I don't know, but try to do something again. It doesn't have to be emotional. It's just the business side of things. And then I would say just shut the fuck up and listen. And even if you're not going to listen, just be quiet when they talk. I'm guilty of this. They call me King Interruptus because I interrupt everybody. But if you can, at least be quiet. Even if you're not going to listen, just let them speak. At the minimum, you don't even have to listen, but just at least be quiet, let them get it out, and then just be like, okay, I understand, or thank you for sharing, or whatever. And then, or you talk then after that, you know what I mean? But I'm very guilty of, it doesn't matter if you're my friend or whoever, I love interrupting. So, but that's not good, especially if someone's got something important to say. But so I've been better about that actually. I've done more shutting up at least. I don't know if I'm listening greatly or not, but at least I'm shutting up more often than not. So God gives you 2 ears, one mouth. So yeah, so try to at least let the person speak, and bite your tongue, sit on your hands, whatever. And or ask the person too, like, well, what do you think? Again, they can disagree. And then I think the last thing is if you're in a relationship, make romance, if you know what I mean, in the be physically romantic. You know what I'm saying? I'm trying to be G-rated here, but even if you don't feel like it, I think it's important that both obviously don't force somebody, but I mean, like, you have to be intentional about that too. I think it's healthy for the mind, body, and spirit. And again, no one's saying, look, I know people who say, well, I'm not attracted to my husband anymore. I'm not attracted to my wife anymore. And well, who are you? You Brad Pitt? Or who are you? Marilyn Monroe? Like, okay, none of us are perfect tens. Like, being physically intimate doesn't have to necessarily mean, you know, the deed, but there's a lot you can do, so something's better than nothing. And I would say you would try to schedule that in your minds or talk about, hey, we haven't had, like, even if it's, if you can once a week, once every other week, like everyone's different, but, some people want to do it every day, God bless. But my point is, if you're not feeling fulfilled and, you know, it's been a month or two or three, like that's bad. Like you need to, yeah, I would say low end once a week, especially if you're younger than 60. You know what I mean? Again, if you have physical limitations and things like that, that's different. However, even with physical limitations, there's a lot you can do that doesn't have to be the actual act. You know what I'm saying? So could be cuddling, could be whatever, just yeah, make an effort, at least try. And if it doesn't work out, fine. But I think that's important too, to, especially if you're busy and everyone's got their lives and jobs and kids and bills and things you got to do. So, anyways, hope these tips help. If you have tips, let me know. Put them in the comment section below. Love to hear how you are working through and making your relationship as good as you can. Yeah, so that's it, everyone. Thank you. Got more great content coming up. And hey, we're closing in on 200 subscribers. We need one more person. Who's it going to be? Hit that like, hit that subscribe. DJ Tony, over and out, signing us off. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Bye.